Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a podcast, Orange. It is I, your host, Tom Crescenzo, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jack Siegel, and a special guest today, little unexpected special guest, sort of a last-minute text, but, you know, he's a friend. He's a good friend, so he decided to come through. Chris D'Elia, everybody. Thank you for coming.
I'm Chris D'Elia.
Thank you for coming to defend your the allegations against you. What do you have to say? Why do you like fucking young girls?
Oh, you know, tight. Did you bring me any? That was my podcast.
No. You're misunderstanding. Like, we're actually on the accusing side. This is not like we're not in favor. We're trying to see what's wrong with you, Chris.
I don't know why Chris D'Elia sounds like this, but now I feel committed.
Speak for yourself, Tom.
Ladies and gentlemen, our good friend, he's a comedian. He's the host of the Guilty Pleasure Personals podcast. Brandon LaCarrubba, everybody.
Thank you so much for getting the name of my show right. Everyone's calling it Guilty Pleasure Podcast, and I'm like, oh god, I have to change my domain names.
It's like, fuck, maybe I should match what people want.
But hey man, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Of course.
The GPPP. I hope you weren't insulted that you are essentially like the last minute guy, you know.
No, I'm not insulted because like I have a lot of last minute guys on my booking for my show because I know that if I hit them up, they're going to be down to do it that day. So if like someone cancels on me or if something happens, I can still like make an episode because I got homies around the corner. I'm a little bummed I burned you guys so early because you would have been great for that as well. But it worked out because they were great episodes to start the show with. So I'm kidding, of course. But,
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun on your show. Nothing makes me happier than like masturbating to my favorite like bands, not just of death metal of any genre. Like, yeah, man. I might as well, like, you didn't realize it, but I was pretty hard sitting there like talking to you in your basement. Like, I was resisting the urge to pull it out. Like, I was gonna pull a full on Louis on you.
I could feel the sexual tension in the air, and just purely from music. You know what I mean? Like, it was really hot. It was something.
Well, there's something.
I can't talk to you about music anymore. I was gonna one and done.
It's over forever. That's it.
So how about stocks?
Yeah, right. But I think it made sense for you because Jack told me you wanted to like work on maybe some jokes for the roast that were gonna be a part of coming up very soon.
Yeah.
Which you know, we're trying to be low key about everything these days, so there'll be more vague details about that on all of our social medias.
We're making a pot roast.
Yeah, it's a potluck with a roast.
We've got to get the vegetables and the beef together.
Yeah, we have to invite a lot of vegans so that they get disgusted when they see what we actually have prepared.
Make them cry.
Yeah, but anyway, so...
It's been on my mind a lot lately, because I understand now how, like, more successful comics are, like, picky about doing roasts, because they want to, like, maintain that streak, that win streak. Yeah. I have one win, and I'm like, fuck am I going to say about Tardo? I gotta keep this win streak going. Like,
I think that's true.
How about call him Nick Retardo? There we go.
We can't put this out now. This is gold.
Yeah, that's it. This podcast is shelved forever.
Fuck.
Sorry, Brandon. No, I think it's interesting because especially with something like that, like a roast joke like that. Like I remember when I first met Nick, I was just like this douchebag who had just graduated college. And I was like, hey, what's going on? Your name's Tardo. I'm going to call you Retardo. And then I just called him that for a while. And I could see in his face where he's just like, dude, you're really giving me that, like, 7th grade ass
yeah, he's probably had to hear that shit, like, his whole life.
Yeah, and after a while I stopped because I'm like, I should not act like such a child around people that I'm trying to get into a good relationship with.
Like, hi, I'm going to make the most easy joke there is to make about you.
Yeah,
right?
the most easy and sensitive joke that you've probably heard a million times, like... Love Nick though, yeah. Nick will be.
You're 1-0, right? In these roasts,
I am 1-0.
You won a last minute roast against a heavy hitter, and I was very impressed.
Well, here's the thing: it was a last minute inclusion on that show, so we both had to figure out stuff last minute, and Devin got the fear in me so good because all of you guys were coming up to me being like, Devin's got fire. You're going to have to bring the pain. You're going to hurt.
I remember helping you, though. I remember...
No, everybody helped everybody.
We were, like, working on, like, some shit, and I was like, I knew you had a chance because Devin was preparing last minute, too.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And we were both very fucked up, and it was just...
It's Devin.
It was a blur. Yeah, good dude. Absolute blur of a night. And, not for nothing, one of my, like, at our level-ish, like, comedy mentors. Like, Devin was, like, a very... And I've talked to Zeroff about this. Like, he was like, you guys were all good to me when I started, but Devin was like my Matrix oracle of figuring out open mic culture. And it was just weird going up against him because I'm like, I have not even like a little bit meanness in my heart towards you. So, like, you're such a good guy. Like, fuck off.
It's funny.
Too nice, bitch. Like,
Devin is very much like, of all the things, like, because, I've been doing comedy for like about 4 years now.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously it takes a while to get ahead in this business, but I don't have, like, that much to show for it. And, we've all probably thought about quitting here and there, but Devin is one of, like, of all the things that keep me from quitting comedy, Devin is definitely one of those things.
Yeah, he tries.
Because he'll just, like, he'll support you, like, he'll laugh. And, like, if you ask him for criticism, like, he'll just give you good criticism, and he's not, like, a dick about it. Like,
that's important.
A lot of people just be like, yeah, man, like, I don't, like... I just don't really know what you were doing with that. And it's like, all right, but you should
try being funny next time.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, honestly, it just kind of sucked, like, the whole bit. It's like, well, I was worried about that.
But some
That's
people,
why I was asking.
It's hard when somebody is like not funny at all, and then they ask you like, "Hey, what should I do different?" And you got to be like, "Well,
you just have to have a different joke.
You should just,
Yeah.
So for me, it just depends on how tight I am with that person. Because if any of you guys are asking me and something was painfully bad, like I just be like, yeah, that fucking blew chunks. But I'll workshop.
I would still try to give you, like, if I would try as hard as I can to see if there was an angle. Because I just think there's always a way, like, as comedians, we should always try to make a joke about something. Like, it's very easy to, like, just dismiss an idea. And be like, that just can't be funny. But it's like, well, no, like, just, you're supposed to try to make a joke about as many things as possible.
Anything can be funny.
So try. Like, I remember one time we were sitting in, like, Dom LaMarca's backyard, and, like, we were just talking about, like, jokes and comedy in general. And Andrew Bergen was like, well, no, Andrew didn't say. Dom pitched an idea. He was like, what would you guys think about a sketch about people sitting around, like, telling stories around a campfire? And Andrew was just basically just like, it wouldn't work. Sorry.
Yeah.
And as
he
much
did
as
that to me too. I pitched him a show I was going to do with my dad, who for the not aware public was a professional chef most of his life. And he was pitching the show back in the 90s for like Access Cable, like basically Pee-wee's Playhouse but in a restaurant. And we were thinking about reviving the idea in 2020, and I pitched it. And Bergen, it's the second I said Pee-wee's Playhouse, but Kitchen, Bergen was like, no, shut it down. Stop. I don't want to be involved, and you shouldn't drag anybody else into it.
See, that's it's good that he does that because you need that influence. But sometimes it's kind of like, it's not like it can't be fun. Like, he was just like, that. There's nothing. Sorry. And even in that moment, I was like, well, no, maybe there's, like, something. Come on. You
gotta hear out the whole idea.
For sure.
Like, but at the same time, it's good to have one guy who'll just be that real with you. Who'll just be like, I'm sorry, dude, like, there's just nothing there. Like, nobody's gonna care about that. It's fair. Like, and I think what Devin, Devin's a good example of a person who just, like, he's just, like, he's very supportive and he's just a kind-hearted individual, so he'll, like, lift you up, like...
Well, here's the reason...
especially after a bad set. Like, I've had some bad sets where it's just, like, me and Devin hitting mics in the city. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, Devin, what did I do wrong? And he'll just be like, listen, man, and he just gives you, like, a rundown. And it's really loud, but it's informative.
Oh, man. Your eardrums.
Yeah.
No, but what I like about both of them is... And this has been a reoccurring theme in my life lately, so I'm glad we're talking about this kind of stuff, is I consider them both friends. I consider you both friends. I trust them. Shut the fuck up. I trust the people that I consider friends and that I treat like friends. I also make a point to trust them with the truth, unless it's going to, like, really fuck them up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Otherwise, it's like... And that's how you know you're friends with Bergen, because Bergen will be his, like, usual pessimistic self about you, and he won't, like, sugarcoat stuff if he's your friend. Like, if him and I weren't friends, and I pitched that Pee-wee's Playhouse Kitchen thing idea, he might have been like, oh, but like, he was telling me, like, his version of the truth. He's like, fuck that.
Well, no, yeah, the fact is, same with Devin. He's not, he's like anybody else. He would only be that real with you if he knows you. Like, and he'll just be straight with you about that. And I think, like, it's difficult to criticize people's jokes because it's very important to them. Like, I've had moments where people ask me, like, what do you think? Is there anything there for that? And, like, I deep down, like, I really can't think of anything that is there. Like, all I can tell them is that I don't think it's funny. Like, and I hate that when that's, like, you could say that it's not funny, but you can't bring anything to the table. That's why I always try to do something, because I hate that feeling of, like, I just have to be like, well, it just doesn't make me laugh. Like, I don't know how it could be better, but maybe
on the other
work
hand,
on, like, I don't know.
I feel like on the other hand, though, like, you there's nothing worse than when you tell a joke and, like, one of your friends like, hey, what'd you think of that? And they're like, oh, it was great. And you could tell they weren't actually listening to you. It's just it's like a reflex response. And it's just like, well, all right, cool. And, because, you need to be, like, close friends. Because even if you're non-stand-up friends, actually, that's not true. I'm going to say your non-stand-up comedy friends won't give you good advice. But I've had some, like...
Excuse me?
I have some friends that aren't in stand-up, and they've seen me, and they've, like, actually given me good advice. And I think it's important because they're outside. They're from, like, the audience perspective, and you want to hear, like, well, what does the audience think? You know, what is just some guy who doesn't do stand-up but wants to see it? Right. What do they think? And I think, that's a good perspective.
And we've complained about people asking comedians to tell jokes in non-comedy settings, but I think it's... I usually try to give people... Like, in those situations, I don't deny them. I'll just be like, here's something. And if they actually laugh, I'm like, all right, like, that just made somebody laugh sitting in a chair in front of me, and I'm not even on stage. But sometimes I'll tell a joke, and they'll be like, I see what you're saying.
Just give them like
kinda like, and you're just like, you need the crowd there, you need the microphone, you just try to make excuses for yourself. You just have no talent. Like, but that's the thing. I think in those situations you should try to, like,
I quote the Joker a lot. I quote the Joker when people try to get me to do jokes, and I'm just not in a comedy setting, and I go, if you're good at something, never do it for free. Oh. Because it's just, I don't know. I'll never ask you to be like, hey, do some taxes. I don't know.
Yeah. Right, that's true. I mean, and true, it'd be weird, like, if someone's like, I'm a musician, and you were like, oh, you want to go get your guitar? And, like,
why don't you play me a song, you fucking...
Well, that's the thing. I was a singer for way longer before I was a comedian, so I would get the same thing as a singer, but like, hey, give me a tune if you're a singer, and I'm like,
I think the only argument you can make is that comedy is easy enough to do in public to where it could just sound like conversation. Like, if someone told me they were a rapper, I would never be like, yo, you could just spit, like, a few bars. Like,
but that's the thing, rappers, I find,
but they're willing to do it,
But they'll do it even if you don't want them to do it. Like,
that's no fun.
They're like, yo, throw on a beat and spit a few bars.
And I'm just like, no, man, I don't want to do this right now.
I'm like, it's like, dude, come on, yo, you want to hop in on it? It's like, I mean...
People will rap at you, but they won't even, like, rap to... They'll just, like, rap in your face, and you're just like...
See, I'll freestyle, but I have to be, like, very borderline close to blackout drunk. Like, I have to be, like, completely, like hammered. Like, and, like, high to be like, all right, like, I'm down to freestyle. Like, otherwise, I'm just like, I'm not, like, 17. Like,
yeah, I can't do that shit.
But I agree. No, constructive criticism is important, and I feel like I've wasted a lot of money and time in my life on art school, but if it taught me any, like, one thing, it's that if you have a group of people that are, like, willing to constructively criticize each other and not be emotional about it and just really, like, talk shop, it's the best thing for art. It's so good for art. And it's funny because, like, I've been in music and visual arts art schools, and it's so funny seeing students in college that can't grasp that. They take any criticism as, like, a personal attack, and it's you shouldn't make art. You should not make art.
They just want people to say, like, oh, that's perfect. And there's,
the problem with art is that it's, especially, like, fine art, is that it's so open to interpretation.
Exactly.
Like,
but so is comedy.
And yes, comedy is as well, but I think there's still a general consensus of, like, somebody being funny versus somebody just kind of, like, being an imbecile on stage. Like, all comedy is definitely a thing, but a lot of times it's like, you don't know if the laughs are fully organic or just coming from, like, a very strange fan base, or just also, like, it's, you could tell, I think with stand-up, the consensus is kind of like, you could do the job or you can't. Like, even comedians who think Larry the Cable Guy's, like, whole shtick was kind of hacky, they can't deny that, like, the man who invented the character is a talented-ass performer
Yeah,
and like
that's all.
You know, fucking did comedy in a way that created a massive cult fan base that he made millions of dollars. I mean, that's really the goal. Like, you know, at the end of the day, it's like if you could do the job, if you're funny, you're good. But like,
I'm really proud of Daniel. I'm really proud of Daniel. He made it. Like, I don't listen to Larry anymore, but I grew up on that fucking man. And as much as it like might be embarrassing to say to comedy homies that like he's had an influence on me because it's just like my childhood shit.
I don't think
It's not like
I've had influences. Like,
he's a successful comic. Like you can get more specific into the grain of it, but I totally agree. Like
the people are acting like nobody does a character. Like everybody's kind of doing a character just because he got super into his and created like a real character.
Really is a character.
I mean. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I love how local comics hate on Pete Davidson. I love Pete Davidson.
You're talking to two people who hate Pete Davidson.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. All right. Well, shit.
Here we go.
I'll see you guys later.
No. So here's the thing. Let me clear something. I don't actually hate Pete Davidson.
I kind of do.
I don't really like give a shit, to be honest.
I don't hate him. I just don't think he's funny enough to be where he's at.
That's the thing. I don't like. I've seen his stand up, and to me, it's just a lot of like stories that go nowhere and are like kind of vaguely funny. It reminds me of like being at a party with somebody that loves to hear themselves talk and like they think they're really entertaining, but you're like, okay, that's kind of amusing.
Says two guys who run a podcast for nobody.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's
a lot
the
of people who love to hear themselves talk and they like, think they're entertaining and they like.
I don't know. It's just not like.
No,
I don't want to like listen to it. Like, voluntarily.
Right. No, that's valid. And the thing is, like, you guys, especially as comedians, like, I bring it up and you guys are giving me, like, valid reasons why you're just not a fan. Like, you don't like the premises where he goes. Maybe it's not, like, jokes enough, just, like, these stories that don't go anywhere. But you can actually talk about it. Whereas I've gone into certain mics on the island with certain crowds of comedians, like, you know, i.e. not really us. And he comes up in conversation and they're just like, fuck that kid. He doesn't deserve any amount of success. This, that. And I'm like, you are obviously just salty that this kid is famous. You guys aren't salty that he's famous. But there's a lot of saltiness that like a young guy is
salty that he's as famous as he is.
I think a lot of people are jealous of the guy because...
It's jealousy in a way.
Well, people are jealous of... Because here's the thing about this guy, right? Is that he's sort of like a gawky, like, weird-looking kid who's kind of nerdy. And I think a lot of people that are comedians see themselves in this kid, and they're like, they wish that was them, that was at that level, that was, like, having sex with Ariana Grande, and, like, doing all this cool shit. And I think a lot of people that see that in him, they're kind of like...
I don't think having sex with a child is cool.
But no, you know what I mean? Like, it reminds them of who they're not as a person and what they wish they were doing with their lives. Yeah. I don't personally give a shit because there's nothing in my life I'd rather be doing than sitting in a basement, in Tom's hot basement, talking to him and Brandon. But like, I understand why people... I don't think he sucks. I just don't think he's like hilarious or I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea personally.
Yeah,
but I understand some people like... Yeah, I think what it is they see themselves, they're like, I wish I had Pete Davidson's life, because he seems like he's got this great life, and he gets to, like, date all these women that are way out of his league, and star in movies now, and I don't know.
So I just feel like he's a guy with a life that happens to be famous, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's successful, and he you know, gets stuff done in entertainment world, but, like, otherwise, everything I've seen of him, he's just... It'd be very similar if one of us was his level of famous. And, like, imagine if we just walked outside and TMZ was there.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
That's the vibe I always got from him.
I've always given him shit for stuff that he's done. Like, I remember he got really mad at... I think it was, like, Vinnie Brand, who owns the Stress Factory. Because, like, Vinnie Brand was told by his entourage to let people know not to make any jokes about Ariana Grande or their relationship. And, like... Vinnie Brand, I don't know, this may have been a misjudgment call, but he made the announcement on stage, like, when the show was happening, and Pete got, like, he was basically just like, you know, no jokes about, like, he didn't make a joke, he's like, listen, I don't want any fucking Ariana Grande jokes, or, like, something like that, and Pete got so offended that he just left the show.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's kind of like thin-skinned. You have to be able to take a joke about yourself.
Like, he sits in the car and he makes a video of himself. He's like, listen, Vinnie Brand, the owner of the Stress Factory, insulted me, and he, like, you know, he disrespected me, and it's like, I get being upset because maybe he shouldn't have said that on stage, but at the same time, it's like, if you're going to tell the entourage to give this guy a direction to make sure that these jokes don't happen, like, what's he supposed to do? Like, how's he supposed to inform anybody? Like, all he could do is tell the other comedians, but he can't control the crowd. Like, if you want the crowd to know, you have to say it on stage.
Dude, like, you're like a really rich kid, and you get to you were dating this like smoking hot Latina chick, and so it's like the fact that people are making like in terms of stuff to making fun of somebody for. It's like if somebody was like, "Ha, you used to date this really hot woman." I'd be like, "Okay, like that's all you got."
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't get offended by that. I wouldn't be like, "I'm leaving. How dare you know?" It's like. There's a lot of other things you can make fun of Pete Davidson for, like his dad dying in 9/11.
Especially because it's something that was at the
like how that blows over Tom's head for a second.
Never mind. But yeah, it's just kind of like, especially because it was at the direction from his entourage. Like, I don't necessarily fully blame Pete because if Pete's just a sensitive guy, it's like whatever. There's other sensitive people in that. At the very least, his aunt, like, according to Vinny Brand, like, I heard him talk about this on the radio where he was like, the entourage then kind of like denied even telling me to do that. Like, I went up to them after he left and I was like, what the fuck, guys? And they were like, what do you mean, what the fuck? Why would you do that? And like, he's like, you told me to do that. Like, you know, it's kind of like that. But, regardless, shitting on celebrities isn't as fun when it's not involving something actually scandalous. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, like Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah. But,
dude, my cousin worked for her years ago and was like, on one of her like reality shows.
Inside
Scoop. No, and she just told me what everybody knows now, that Ellen's a cunt. Like, that's nothing.
These have been around. These rumors of her being a massive bitch have been around for like 15 years at least, and nobody ever gave a shit. I was at I remember I went to my friend Dominic invited me to his friend's house to watch the Golden Globes. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Last year, and the people there were like super snobbish and kind of rude, and like Ellen DeGeneres got up to accept some like lifetime achievement award,
lifetime lesbian award,
lifetime lesbian. She's been eating muff for 40 years now, and so she gets up there.
She's a 40-year medal.
She gets up there and then she starts like talking, and the host of the party, I swear to God, this guy started crying because he's gay, and he was like so inspired by her, and I was just like, and then when the commercials went, I'm like, you know, Ellen's like a really mean person in real life. Like apparently she treats her employees like shit, and then the kid was like, you know, that's really disrespectful to do. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just don't be like so idolized over a celebrity that you can't handle that these people are real human beings with flaws.
Plus, like, a gay dude being inspired or being like emotionally stirred by a lesbian is like, it's like a Mets fan rooting for the Yankees. Like, you're still rooting for New York. Like, you're still rooting for New York, but like, that's not your team, bro.
Nice.
I have to bleep that. I might keep that.
I'm just fucking have to edit that in.
That's funny.
Funny ass shit.
But yeah, no, she's like always been a cunt, and my theory is that because she's so cool and like fun and nice on her show, that she somehow like stores up all of her niceness throughout the day just to record her show. When she's not on camera, she's like letting all the cunt out.
I mean, like, let's be real here. Ellen is just a person who's trying to make millions of dollars. Like, this is what this tells me is like, you know, I've always hated Ellen for just seeming like a big phony and just like generally like hollow and fake with no actual.
You don't think
substance.
she's a comic genius?
Here's the one devil's advocate.
She totally deserves to have had Barack Obama put a medal around her neck. Totally.
That's weird.
But it is weird. But like still, just like the idea, she's. She, to me, represents the phoniness of, like, Hollywood and entertainment better than any celebrity because she truly is a symbol of, like, love and compassion in American culture. And the actual person that she is truly is the opposite. And it is pretty interesting. It's a unique case study.
The like, almost devil's advocate-y angle I give to Ellen is that I have not been a part of many productions. You know, I've been a part of a few. I have a few credits. And I've produced stuff. Making a show is fucking hard.
Yeah.
There's so much. So it's like I see it almost from the perspective of like you kind of have to be a cunt to get stuff done. But like she's like 10 times more cunty than the base level needed.
It's
to
also
get
like,
something
do you?
done.
I see.
No, I think with that many variables, like when you're at that big of a scale, like kind of.
Yeah,
but here's the problem that
Brandon's
I have.
fiance in 3 days, you'd be like, did you really have to use the C word so much?
Oh, as long as my mom doesn't listen to this show, we're good.
Oh, really? She doesn't care about the word cunt?
No, just my mom. Like,
Just
yeah. My girl does not care
Brandon's
about language.
fiance is cool.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Nah,
But like,
yeah.
here's the problem. I like
Dibs.
because there's this weird culture, and it's not just exclusive to America. But how come it's okay? The only thing. How come it's okay for bosses to just treat their employees like absolute shit? Because not only is it okay, but some people actually celebrate it. Like, oh, this person's tough. They like, that came out about Amy Klobuchar. When she was running for president last year, it was
Russia? Who is this?
she was like a senator from Minnesota.
You didn't know Amy Klobuchar?
No, I just hear the name and I'm like,
for throwing a stapler.
Are we interfering with Russian elections now? Like,
We voted. It's a back and forth. We're 69ing Russia's election.
Yeah,
but like, so she was a senator from Minnesota, and she was running for president.
Okay.
And it came out, and she's also one of the people that's like, I'm a nice lady, blah, blah, blah. And it came out...
Make me president, I'm so nice.
I'm so nice. But it came out that she was apparently really fucking horrible to her employees, that she would email them randomly at 3 a.m. being like, you suck, you're the worst employee ever. And apparently she threw a stapler at one of her employees. And it really...
funny,
but like, when that came out, certain people are like, yeah, she's tough. I like somebody that's tough with the... Like, why? You like somebody that's mean and abusive?
Well, it's like there's a difference
awful?
between being tough on your staff and just being generally abusive to another human.
Yeah,
being
just
an
being
equal
horrible.
to you. Like,
Admittedly, it's a fine line. Like, have you guys been bosses in any capacity?
Not really. I mean, technically, like Jack and I are, if we had a staff of this podcast, we'd be the bosses.
No,
And I would be abusive too.
Yeah, we would definitely be
I would
abusive.
throw
bosses.
staplers.
Yeah,
So-
I would honestly it would be pretty bad.
I
I might sexually harass them. No, I'm kidding.
I've been a boss in many different situations, and I try to be the nice guy boss, but I lean too far that way, nothing gets done.
Right.
Like, nothing gets done. I ran an AT&T store. I just got, like, walked all over. But I also had, like, no power because American retail is weird.
Yeah.
But then, like, running Smash tournaments, I was just, like, nice to my employees and my interns. And I'm like, clean up that setup. And they're like, no. And I'm like, what is this dynamic?
What, you're going to make us clean it up? What are we, your slaves, bro? And
I'm
it's
like,
okay.
yeah, until 6 o'clock. Yes, clean it up, bitch. But no,
Damn.
it's weird. Like, I as much as I hate it also, it's like, I
Brandon's
get
like,
why-
I wasn't that hard on him. I would just be like, listen, cunt, you better clean it up. You better clean up that fucking spot if you want to keep your job or your fucking life. No.
No, I think that's why good bosses are so hard to come by, because, like,
It's
it really
tough.
is. It's a fine line.
It is tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's like, if you're going to be a pushover, yeah, your company's going to suffer.
But I think there's a different, like, here's the thing about, and also it's nobody's perfect, right? Because I have friends, one of my friends who listens, what's up, Lurch? He owns a tire store.
Hey, Lurch.
And he's told me, like, occasionally he's kind of snapped at his employees because they're, like, idiots. And it happens to all of us. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
We all lose our cool. We all flip out on people every now and again. But it becomes a problem if like, that is just your daily routine. And that's just not, like, a mistake. That's just how you are with everybody. I used to have a boss who was like that at a restaurant, and she was really mean. And I personally find that when somebody is nice to you and creates, like, a fun environment, it makes you want to do a better job because you like this person. And you're like, I want to help his business out. He's always been nice to me, so I'm going to do a better job for him.
It's
or
a lot
an asshole.
easier to show up to work when you know that you and your boss have a sexual relationship. Yes.
But, like, no, if somebody's mean to me, and I'm like, I don't want to do a good job because this person is a fucking prick. But if somebody's nice to you, you're like, you want to help out. I find it makes things a lot better if you're just nice to people.
Yeah, I agree, because sometimes I have to sort of take the position of the boss in my job, because I'm not, like, really a manager, but, like, when the managers aren't there, I'm in charge because I just know everything.
Yeah.
And, like, sometimes the kids are there, and I just tell them to do stuff. And I'm just like, hey, hey,
Lick my ass.
Yeah, like I'm just, I'm just like, hey, would you mind just like bending over and pulling your pants down? And they usually don't protest. It's, you just got to be nice about it.
They need a job.
This
is a difficult time living in America.
Look, this is the worst economy in U.S. history. Like, I don't know what you think you're gonna do, but I have an idea. I am not a psychopath now.
Well, here's what I'm saying about it.
I need to elaborate.
About it being a difficult line.
You know what it is? Like, you tell these kids, you just be, hey, would you mind getting the garbage? And usually, as long as you're not like, hey, asshole.
Bitch, get the trash.
Like, as long as you're not like, pussy bitch boy. Like, or just like, hey, fuck boy, get the garbage, fuck boy. And like, you're just like following him around, poking him, like, fuck boy gets the garbage. Like, he's not going to be a good worker. But like, if you just say, like, hey man, would you mind, like, it's about like that time.
Yeah.
Usually people are good workers.
What were you saying though?
No, it wasn't worth it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just remembering how like one of my first employees I ever had when I was running video game tournaments. To induct him into my organization, I knighted him with a Guitar Hero controller. Mm-hmm. It felt so much more badass than it really was. It felt like I was doing something
with a Guitar Hero controller.
Yeah, because like in that space, in that like nerdy video game culture space, it was one of the most badass things I could have done. And then I talk about it on this podcast, and I'm like,
"Sir, the title's Incel."
Yeah,
you get knighted with a Guitar Hero controller.
Incel John.
Go on.
Everybody applauded and came on his face afterwards.
Yeah, that was hot.
What a time.
Sounds hot.
But like my last boss when I worked at an office job was like a legitimate Michael Scott type. It was fun, but it was
so
like
real.
It really is a real thing. He was a British guy. His name was Ryan, and he got like fired after 2 weeks because they're like, you can't really. It was like if the office was like real life because it's like in real life this guy would have been fired like immediately. And that's what happened. But he would come around and like he'd be like it would be to me and the other temps. He'd be like, all right guys, it's time to play mini golf, and we would set up mini golf in the office and we would just hit it around for like a half hour.
Mm-hmm. I hear that's good for productivity. Isn't that why Google has like games and shit everywhere? They let you play ping pong for half of your day.
Dude, Google has like I have a friend who works in Google, and they said it's like a real like hangout spot. Like they have all these types of games. You can like sleep there. They have all these different activities.
They gotta have fuck dolls for the employees.
Oh well, if you're living
like fuck androids, like not dolls.
I mean, the thing about Google is people
the robots that'll actually cook dinner for you and like clean up also.
Well, people essentially live there when they work for Google and those companies. Like they work all the time. I feel like Google is trying to get their employees to be like, you don't have a life. Your life is Google now. You work here. You live here. You are Google.
I mean, I've seen. You know what it is though. Like I have seen other work environments where it's like. Like, you ever watch, like, the South Park documentary about how they make that show?
Great watch.
Brilliant documentary, yeah. But it's like,
there.
they show the employees, like, sleeping there and, like, waking up the next day just to finish the show. The difference is they work, like, once every 6 months or something. It's weird. Like, they have, like, a thing where they just take a long-ass break and then they're like, all right, we're about to do the season. Like, and then they just work, like, tirelessly for, like 8 weeks or something making episodes.
Well, the same thing I watched like the Game of Thrones documentary, and those people work like 15 hours a day to work, and it's just like that's insane. Because I've been on set of like productions, I've been an extra on shows like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Ray Donovan and shit. And you see that like hundreds of people everywhere, and it's like bonkers. So I can't imagine just it's got to be a stressful environment. That's why I understand what you're saying with Ellen. It's like it is a stressful environment, but. I don't know. At a certain point, it's just like, calm down.
It's also just like, you don't have to be like the hugest bitch, and you don't also have to be like, what did she say? Did she say like, I only remember the names of my white employees?
Well, she said that she forgot like a black employee's name, and she said that.
Jamal.
But here's the thing about that thing. She might have been saying that in like a joking manner. I think when they quoted her, she said that. I think she might have been
ironic.
Yeah, she might have been like
that. She was being ironic.
That might have been like the thing, like she's just fucking around with somebody. Like, oh, sorry, I only, like I don't know.
Like I guess I only remember the names of my white employees.
Yeah, like
right, Jamal.
But they quoted her as saying that. But in the quote, you can't really tell the tone of somebody's voice.
It seems like she would just assume like his name was Jamal after that, and then he'd be like, "You still don't know my name," and she's like,
Daquan?
DeBrickashaw.
None of us are getting on SNL.
You mean the Jets player?
Fuck SNL.
Yeah, no, of course.
The Jets player, what's his name? DeBrickashaw, like...
DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Oh, yeah.
He was like a lineman for the Jets.
DeBrickashaw. It's pretty, like, this is a pretty, like...
Oh, man.
This moment of my life, and, you know, this is one of many moments of my life that I am not proud of and look back on as something I've grown from. But it was just, like, a little, like, cheeky, racist Long Island moment where one time me and my friends just, like, said DeBrickashaw Ferguson, and we just, like... We were, like, 11, we just laughed for, like, 10 minutes. Like, we're just cracking up. We're just like DeBrickashaw.
How high were you?
We were like 11, dude. We were just kids. Like we were just like it was just like the funniest thing in the world for some reason. Like we were like crying and like looking back, I'm like, wow, that was like it's pretty quintessential like Long Island ingrained like almost systemic racism. Like I'm hoping that I probably still find it too funny. I'm hoping.
I feel like racism gets a bad rap. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, Brandon.
I'm getting all like deep in my head. I'm pontificating about the times, and I'm just thinking about how yeah, that name is like stereotypical, but there's no ill will towards black people in that.
No, it's just a funny sounding name.
But that's my problem with like what racism is today, because racism used to need ill will.
Yeah.
Like an obvious poor intent behind it to be racist, and now it's like you're pointing out stereotypes, racism, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not racist.
Like I'm not racist. They usually do leave their kids when they're not.
No, but if there's a white guy named DeBrickashaw Ferguson, it would just be as funny, you know? Because it's just...
No, I think it's like a fine line. It's kind of like there's a line you walk where it's like sometimes it kind of is like, you know, there's things where it's like you're not necessarily trying to be mean, but like. What you're saying is like in deep down like might be like, you know, hurtful, but at the same time I think people's sense of humor, like, you know, like the idea of like being friends with somebody or loving somebody is that you're comfortable with like poking fun at each other and making fun of each other. It's
part of it.
And I feel like that's like if there was unity like between all of the races, like we would be more open and just like willing to like poke fun and shit.
Yeah,
I think that's like what this era shows is that's gone away. Like there isn't that unity.
There's no
anymore.
fun.
There is tension
now.
Like,
there's no fun.
Maybe there was a period like I'm not like obviously we are all sort of white. How are you Italian, Brandon?
That's the thing. Yeah, I am Italian.
Okay, we're all white.
But I'm white, and none of my ancestors were even in this country when like fucking
right. But
slavery was a thing.
Italians are also just typically, even when they did come to America, they were pretty goddamn racist. Like,
all right, fair, but like I guess I'm in my specific case.
They have funny like Italian sort of Guinea like racial slurs that are like only Italian, like Tatsoons. It's like they literally have like mafioso racial slurs. It's like. Yes, Italians weren't here for slavery, but they didn't exactly show a good like racial character when they arrived.
I guess,
but also Italians were prejudiced, had prejudice against them for a while too. Like back in the 1920s, they probably saw like Italians and Irish people as at least on maybe not the same level, but at least on a similar level as black people. At least back then.
What were you saying?
So, but yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. No, it's fine. It's just weird how it's weird how Italians like we just became white. Like I've been doing bits about it. Like we were basically European Mexicans in the 50s. And now it's like because we're considered white, we get some of the perks of being white, but we get like all of the like you know, the whites are about to fall off the top of the game kind of thing. Like we're getting all the negatives and like getting lumped in. I don't like getting lumped in with all the regular whiteys. I still feel like a European Mexican. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like I'm half Irish, right?
Oh, we should just burn you.
Yeah, well,
no, yeah, I'm part Irish too, and it does make me suicidal.
No, Irish is for the, but like my grandparents are like
that might make you not white.
No, Russians are white. They're like white Asian.
Well, I'm half Russian too. I mean, you know, they're like. But we came from the Europe. I mean, I came from the European.
We must compare fuzzy hits.
Nobody lives in Siberia and shit.
Because it's so cold.
Yeah, you came from the Europe part of Russia. But like my grandparents, my grandma is dead now. But like
congratulations.
my mom's parents are like the most racist fucking people ever, and they're Irish. And it's just funny. Yeah, like people came to this country, and they're the new people. and they're like, "Hey, look at these fucking black people." Like, it reminds me of like a new kid in school bullying another kid. Like, you just moved here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be, but it's like a different type of racism where it's like so real, where it's like it's nowadays, yeah, like the race people be like, oh, saying Debrickashaw, that's racist, but it's like, no, my grandpa once said, like,
it's not saying it, it's laughing at it. Like,
I know,
somewhat racist in my 12-year-old.
It's all, either way, it's bullshit. But like, when you hear like real racism, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you like, if you're a reasonable person, you can easily tell the difference.
Yeah.
Like, if we're sitting around making jokes about like a stereotypically not white African American name. I'm canceled. That's an old one.
You're just like,
but like, what was the example from before?
Tyrone.
What was the example from before? Like what
I said, or
Debrickashaw.
Basically, just like I was 11 years old, and me and my friends just like somebody said the name of Debrickashaw Wilson. We just laughed at that.
Right.
But it's just like a pretty absurd black sounding name. Like,
right.
You know, not gonna lie, that's what was funny. And like looking back on it, it makes me somewhat uncomfortable. That was the point. Like,
no, that's valid. But like, if we were a bunch of black dudes that had like, I guess, stereotypy names like that, and we were all sitting in a circle like, ha, I'm John Smith. Nice to meet you. And they were making fun of us like that. I wouldn't be offended. That's hilarious.
No, that's funny.
There are white people that do that.
Yeah.
But
you're also like...
That was a South Park bit, I think. Yeah. It was the Chinese, and they're like, hello, I talk like this.
Yeah.
Credit. Like,
I don't like the term devil's advocate, so I'm just going to say, just to play SJW for a minute. just to play SJW for a minute.
I like that.
It is also like, yeah, like white jokes have never offended me. Like people have called me cracker, and I'm like, whatever, but like, you just like it's also cracker. Just because I get to go back home to like a beautiful neighborhood right after, and it doesn't like affect me at all. You know, like that's the thing is like, you know, when you're like, like you're black, do you play basketball? And like that's not only hurtful because you're like stereotyping them, they're also just like they actually have to go back to a situation of like oppression.
You should write for BuzzFeed.
Yeah, that was me playing SJW. In truth, I think that you should make as many jokes about race as possible, and you should only punch them. No,
I just feel like...
let me ask you something, Brandon. How do you feel about that? Because we've talked about this before. How do you feel about that list of racist comedians that was made? That was like, did you know about that?
No, I didn't. Am I on it?
Now we are.
We should probably all technically be on it.
That guy in Naruto Williams made a list.
Basically, this dude who's a comedian in the city. He's not famous, but he goes to the same...
Nobody knows who he is except for like some comedians.
I mean, we probably go to the same...
He just made a list of people he deems racist?
In the comedy community. So he listed people who were like somewhat famous. Like, he listed like Aaron Berg and like other somewhat mid-level famous comedians. But then he also just listed
Pete Davidson.
Yeah, he listed Pete Davidson. He listed I don't know if he listed Louis. But,
actually, I don't think he listed. He didn't list Pete Davidson. I was just kidding.
Did he?
No,
I don't know.
So.
I believed you. Totally.
No kidding allowed, Jack.
No kidding. It's all serious. I'm sorry.
No, truthfully,
it's a serious show for serious people.
A fact, Aaron Berg was on the list. Oh, he listed Dave Smith from Legion of Skanks, but he also listed like people that I've seen at open mics.
He listed Nick DiPaolo.
Dave Smith,
which is like Nick DiPaolo doesn't know who this guy is. He's like, he's been doing comedy before the guy was like a twinkle in his dad's nutsack.
To be fair, though, I saw Nick DiPaolo and I was like, well, yeah.
And to be fair, Dave Smith's running mate for Legion of Skanks president was Hate Speech the Bear, so like that kind of hurts the credibility of the campaign not being racist.
Yeah, so he doesn't.
That's hilarious. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
he also wrote Anthony Cumia, who's not even like a comedian. He's just a radio personality.
Yeah, he just said racist in the comedy community.
But he's just like, really. He's like, dude, nobody's like, oh my god, you're saying Anthony Cumia is racist? You know.
It's like, what's going to happen on these? Do you think these people are going to read this list and like kill themselves over it? Like, it's like I can't.
Like, dude, that
I really have damaged society so much.
I bet, you know what's sad about that whole thing? The guy probably wrote rough drafts of that list. And like,
he's like, no, I have to.
Can't do this. Yeah,
maybe not them. Like they actually gave me a spot one time. But how do you feel about it? Because it's like
that's fucking insane. That's insane for so many reasons. Like, one, I'm glad the entire comedy community elected this one great judge of character to unilaterally decide who is racist and who is not. It's ridiculous. I'm sure he'd consider me racist. I've had accusations. Like, in our community at Mike's of just maybe, like, being a little too, like, not even a racist, but, like, racy or, like, maybe I shouldn't say words. And I'll just be real with you guys. Like I say with a hard W, wigger in my sets and Negro. But it's like part of a story. It makes sense to say it. I'm not just like...
Brady's just like, I'll say the N-word and I'm proud.
No, it's different.
I'm fucking with you.
It's different. Like, that they can have that one. I'm not saying it.
No, I got you.
Like, but it... You know, it's not like...
I think wigger's a tough one because it's like...
It's really tough.
It's tough because it's not like... Obviously, it's not the word that you're not supposed to say, but it's pretty close because of what it really implies that you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, you're basically just saying, like, yeah, there's white N-words, and then there's, like, regular ones, you know? Like,
no, absolutely. Yeah. If you break it down, it certainly implies big words. But like,
but I don't think if you said that word on stage, I wouldn't say like cancel. I would not be like cancel him for that. Like
unless maybe
write a different joke about like race with a different word. But
but like one of the bits, it's inherent to the bit, the word wigger, because it sounds like another word.
If you're joking about the word, then yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. And what's funny is of all the people that have heard this material. Like, it's definitely mostly white people, but there's certainly been a bunch of black people that have listened to it and are not fazed by it because I'm not saying anything about them at all.
Oh yeah.
And then like it's like white dudes and Spanish dudes that come to me and like, hey, you shouldn't say that. And I'm
Spanish dudes. Why?
Hey man, you shouldn't say that word.
You should not say Uyghur.
Yeah.
You know that he's racist, man. Oh god, we need Manny. We should have invited Manny to this.
Well, maybe he would have told you the story.
This is like literally like the guy. This is literally like if the poll board on 4chan became a podcast.
Yeah.
All right, we're all voting for Biden.
Okay, but
yeah, I don't know if it's. This is why I like Mark Norman right now so much, of many reasons, is like when he says in his special, he's like, these are jokes. Like, even if I make a joke that implies that I might be racist or sexist or bad, you're not, why are you judging my character based on, like, what I'm doing as a performance to make you laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. It's just,
That would be
really
like if people
stupid.
got angry at Michael Fassbender because he played a slave owner in 12 Years a Slave. You know what I mean?
We should burn him at the stake and eat him alive.
I mean, how dare you
like
pretend...
Leonardo DiCaprio said the N-word a bunch of times for Django Unchained, and for some reason actors get like the okay, and it's like people sometimes give screenwriters shit. Like people have tried to get attack Tarantino for writing a bunch
but
of
that's
N-words.
retarded because
he wrote himself N-words.
Yeah, he wrote himself N-words. That's the one where I'm almost like maybe.
It's set in slavery. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
that whole thing was so
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
Even like he was just like, you guys are retarded. I like Tarantino because he doesn't apologize and he's just like.
I like Tarantino because he likes feet.
Well, yeah, I mean,
no, but I mean
feet.
You know what it is? Tarantino is like, I think Tarantino does get a little high on his style and sometimes like takes liberties that I don't think are offensive but might sometimes hurt his films depending on what movie it is. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, like, other filmmakers have wrote equally fucked up things in their movies that aren't N-words and that's fine. Like, why are you demonizing this guy for writing a word?
Martin Scorsese wrote my favorite movie of all time, Taxi Driver. Martin Scorsese.
Oh yeah, he wrote N-words.
Well, actually, he didn't write Taxi Driver, but he plays a character.
Oh yeah,
in the
white
movie.
guy wrote N-words for another white guy.
But he plays a character in the movie, and a rider in his De Niro's taxi, and he's like, pull over. He's like, that's my wife, and she's fucking an N-word, and I'm gonna kill that fucking N-word, and I'm gonna kill my wife, and like that's a direct like. Who gives a shit?
Jack's
It's a
like,
fucking.
I've never seen myself more in a film scene.
It's a movie though. Like, why does anybody give a shit?
I hate this. Well, they ruined Big Mouth because they couldn't have a Jewish woman play a girl who's half Jewish, half black, because the girl from Parks and Rec wasn't black enough, and it's like that. She's a funny character.
Jenny
Slater, right? Is that her name? I don't know.
Yeah, Jenny Slater.
I mean, to be fair, Big Mouth was ruined just by being a terrible TV show.
Okay, yeah, but like,
I never watched it. I don't know.
I'm kidding around.
Yeah, no,
I agree with you on that. I think the whole like
I enjoyed that show, and now that character is either going to be played by somebody else or be written off of the show, and it doesn't do anything for anybody.
I mean,
anything.
Like you could have here's the
I'm
thing,
angry.
Like, I'm white, but like if I grew my hair out and did a part, I could technically play a Jewish guy. Like I could pass as a Jewish dude.
Hey,
we can all you and me
can
both look like Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems.
My name is Tom Leibowitz.
I'm Brandon Goldberg. I can play an Italian. A lot of people think I'm Italian when
You
they
could
see...
if you like slicked your hair back.
Well, Italians and Jews have very similar appearances.
Italians and Jews are almost the same. The only difference is Italians are not smart or good with money.
Well,
That's
they're
it.
both... Italians and
Otherwise,
Jews
they're
are
the
both
same
hairy.
basic
They
animal.
both have, like, the hook nose. They have very similar physical appearances.
The Italians are basically like if Jews took steroids. Like
Italians are like white trash Jews.
I love how everybody in our scene, like everybody thinks Zach Zorovich is Jewish.
I know
And
because
he's not. And
I
it's
used
so
to think
funny.
he was. Now that
he's
I know
not,
him for a while.
There you go. There it is
I
again.
legitimately thought he was.
Wait, really?
Everybody.
I thought he was Jewish. He's not Jewish.
His name is Zach Zorovich. I thought he was
He's not
Jewish.
Jewish.
I said to him once, I forget what the context was, but we were talking, and I was like, "You're one of the chosen people, right?" He's like, "Not even a little bit." I was like,
He's like, not
He
even a
looks
little
like
bit.
Seth-
Black.
like,
he looks like
everybody thinks
Seth
you, baby.
Rogen. That's why I thought.
He looks at you and he goes, "Motherfucker, not even a little bit."
I love that he's not offended by it because it's great because everybody thinks
The only thing Zach's not offended by anything. The only thing that
Yeah.
offends Zach is anything that like disrespects the integrity of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like
Every time someone says they're gonna start a podcast, a little bit of Zach dies.
yeah, like every time somebody suggests making online content, that's when Zach gets a little uncomfortable. But you can make a joke about any race or subject and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But no, I love Zach. Zach's a great
Zach's
dude.
the best.
He'll be on the show soon.
Yeah.
But
No, he's a good guest.
he one time I had him on. Speaking of him looking Jewish, one time I had him on a slam comedy show, and I remember when I brought him up, I'm like, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna love this next comedian. He's super funny. He's a good friend of mine. Is he Jewish? You'll have to figure it out for yourselves. Please welcome Zach Zorovich.
That's a great way to welcome that man up.
Yeah. But then when he got off, I forgot that I did that, and like I was about to just move the show on. I'm like, give it up for Zach, everybody. We got more. And then Zach's like, wait, and I'm like, what? He's like, and I was like, oh yeah, is he Jewish? And like half the crowd, I was like, who says yes? And the crowd was like, yeah. And like then I was like, no, and it's like, yeah. And I'm like, not Jewish.
Are you worried if slam comedy takes off in a meaningful way that like if someone writes you a check and they fuck up it was an X or an O and you can't cash a check because
not really.
Yeah, that's
truthfully, I wouldn't. have them.
What is with the X anyway? I don't even know. Between slam
know what
and
it is?
comedy,
I like the
there's
mystery.
an X between
I'll
slam
explain
and
it.
I
What
wanna
it
know.
is. Manny, for some reason, I think it's like the Latinx thing. You ever seen that? Like when people type Latino, they just put an X where the O is.
Yeah.
Like,
They don't want. They want gendered Latino.
Yeah.
I love how
I'm not sure what it represents, but it was Manny's decision.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
like, whatever, man. Like, I don't care. Like, let's put it on the shows. And like, I think it looks cool, but at the same time, like, yeah, sometimes I'm not sure what to write. Like, should I hashtag slam comedy with an O or slam comedy with an X or both? Like, it's not fully confirmed.
you're gonna get like checks and you're gonna be like drawing X's over O's and the bank's gonna be like,
yeah, bro.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Truthfully, I would rather just have them make checks out to Manny and I separately.
That's
like, not
probably what
Slam
would happen.
Comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have them make a check out to
So
slam
they're like,
comedy.
what the fuck is this?
Unless it got like if it got patented with an X or the O, like that's what I would have them write checks out. to.
Slam comedy, more like sham comedy.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
These are
Got
all
Got 'em.
reasonable responses to
You're
my
gonna-
silly
you come
premise.
on, you come on my half show and you high five my co-host in a diss. I can't believe it, Brandon.
Slam
Okay.
comedy, more like scam comedy.
Oh.
Oh,
Sorry.
double.
You know what? You guys should go to see Jack's comedy production company. Oh wait, he doesn't have one.
You'll get wrecked, dude.
Jack,
Alright. Fair enough.
Jack did his
I got
first show since the pandemic like 2 weeks ago. What a loser.
True, I guess.
No, I'm sorry. We're all friends here. But yeah, you know what? Like, I think the point of what we were saying before, just to get back into sort of the topics, is like that sometimes, like, you know, social justice has valid points, but it can go too far. Like for example, like, what's that term you told me about?
Maps.
Yeah, maps.
Maps. Minor attracted persons.
Yeah,
That's what
let's go on this.
pedophiles call themselves, because they're a person attracted to a minor. And they're trying to make themselves like an official group and get recognition. It's like when Nambla tried to be like, we're pedophiles, we have rights.
It's like their argument for existing is like rooted in science, but don't get together.
Yeah.
Just be what if you're just born that way and you gotta like deal with it and try not to like ruin a kid's life or go to jail. Like, don't hang out with another person that was born with your mental disability.
Yeah, it's like
that's insane.
It's like the same thing as when you go to rehab And, like, the doctors will tell you, like, you guys, you know, obviously, like, you're all in this together, but, like, you can't make friendships when you get out of rehab. Like, you're supposed to not, like,
yeah, because Jesse Pinkman is going to give you meth at the talks.
Like, the idea is you're going to get high together before you get sober together, and you're probably going to fuck a kid together before you turn to Christ together. Like,
to quote Michael Jordan,
kid. It's crazy. It's disgusting.
To quote Michael Jordan, stop it. Get some help.
Yeah, like, just stop it. But you know what? I've argued on this show that pedophiles should just kill themselves because it's like I wouldn't be able to live if I could never have my sexual satisfaction. But at the same, I'll take this time to backpedal on that. But still, it's like I agree with you. Like, don't group up. Like, I get it. You want to meet someone who has the same problem as you, but like, it's dangerous. Like, you should probably just see a therapist.
Also, suicide is so final.
Yeah, and there are definitely I forget what fucking movie put this idea in my head, but it's basically like, I respect the fuck out of a pedophile that never touches a kid his whole life or her life, or like never even like engages in kiddie porn. Like that is somebody that knows that they are in the wrong, but but that's just how they were born. Like
they can't help it. They're just like that's their life.
It's just pretty sad though. Like to me, that's
like
like
tortured existence.
To me, that's like saying I respect the fuck out of a lion that's never eaten like a single zebra or never killed another animal. But it's like a lion like. You know, a lion's not going to be satisfied with living that way, and I just feel like a pedophile wants to fuck kids until the day he dies, and it's like, it's sad and tragic to me. That's why I had that sympathy before. I backpedaled on it because it's just kind of like, you know, it's a little fucked up to say, but like, it's also just not realistic. But yeah, I think if you're a pedophile who can hold it back, there's certainly a level of strength there. But it's like, look at the way society views pedophile. Like, do you give credit to it? It's like, dude, good job for not fucking kids. Like, I know you really want to, but
I think, dude, honestly, I think so. I think if somehow you admit to society that you're a pedophile, and you're able to prove that you're 60 years old, never fucked a kid, never looked at anything that was compromising to a kid, and you're like, I made it. You should get like a pin.
You should get like.
It's also like most.
I was gonna say a medal, but it felt too much. So I give him a pin.
You're like on your deathbed with like a bunch of tubes in you and like a defibrillator, and like someone just gives you like a trophy that says thanks for not fucking our children.
How about like a jacket patch? Like did not fuck kids.
It's a merit badge. Well, most pedophiles too are. People that were themselves abused. It's just like a sad thing.
Yeah, no,
it's like a drug addict
that
doesn't do drugs, and it's like, you know, I can't put myself in those shoes. You know, I mostly because I can't fit in those tiny tight ass shoes. No, but like I get it's, you know, it's sad.
I just think that people are like clamoring for their rights, and they're like, you know, like some people, like a very small like sliver of like the quote unquote SJW community.
Don't group up.
Yeah, not grouping a lot of like, it's not all like social justice people or all like left wing people, but there's definitely a small sliver who's like, we need to recognize these people's rights.
I think it's a very small sliver.
We need, I
don't think it's like even like 1% of those people.
Yeah, probably not. But anybody who is, it's like, you know, there's probably should be more mental health options available, but it's like, settle down. Like, they're not like, they're like, like, could you imagine if there was like a pedo parade? Like it's like a pedo pride parade, and it's just a bunch of like floats of different famous 90s kids movies, like.
That would be an amazing episode of Shout Out to All Gas No Brakes. You guys know that show?
No, what is that?
It's a YouTube show. At first it reminds me a lot of the Eric Andre show, because it's just like a guy, and a normal looking guy in a normal looking like brown suit, and he just goes to some of the wildest like places and or events, and just walks up with a microphone and just either tries to like talk to people, but he'll go to like a coronavirus, what the fuck was it? I think it was a 4th of July party. And it was just a bunch of like kids in Florida on the beach, like not being safe and just being crazy and drunk and stuff. Mm-hmm. He went to like the Portland like conflict.
Oh yeah.
And was like interviewing people there. And like other like, I think he went to a furry convention, and he's just very normal.
That's the worst one you said.
That's what I'm saying. He just goes to all these like crazy things, and like it just, to be like a normal like like he almost doesn't really interview. He just lets crazy people talk on mic.
Talk.
I think he went to one of the UFO things when they were storming Area 51. I think he was there. It's a very watchable program.
Did you go to like any like QAnon shit? Like that was interesting.
You know what's funny? I saw like Tim Dillon. I was listening to Tim Dillon's podcast, and he said something like the coronavirus craziness is like QAnon for the left now. I thought that was an interesting perspective.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like. You know,
QAnon's like, dude, the QAnon shit is just crazy.
QAnon's wild. Like, there's some validity to
QAnon's also, like, I think is legitimately, like...
But I will say this,
because the thing about QAnon is that it's just, like...
Why don't we just call it Quanon?
Quanon?
Or Canon.
But
I'm sorry.
Why don't we just call it conspiracy theorists?
No, it's just the problem with that, though, is that, like... people in power believe that shit. And it's like, I could see, like...
People in power fuck kids. I don't know.
I know,
what's the problem? Fuck kid. I mean, come on. Like, we all have our hobbies. Like,
we're like getting to find out if we have the guts to put a former president on trial for fucking kids. Like, that is where we are at in history right now. And I just think it's sad, but it's like I want to exist in 200 years so I can read a history book about like when we decided whether or not to try Bill Clinton for fucking kids. It's just super interesting to me. Because it's going to say a lot about us as a country, as just an organization of people, of whether or not like we do. I am also speaking out of my ass. I've just heard that the Epstein,
based on all the factual evidence we have of Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I've just heard that the rumors of him having like Epstein Island visits. I have heard that it has been like proved through the U.S. court system, so it's just coming down to whether or not they decide to persecute him.
Yeah, but prosecute
him. No, we should persecute him, but they should also prosecute him for fucking kids.
Where did you hear that? I mean, like, you know.
I think the thing about the Clintons,
exactly.
Even if he went to the island, you still have to prove that he fucked a kid.
Yeah, there's no.
Like, he could have gone to the island. And not
imagine just like in court, the prosecutor's just like, why else would he be there? Like, I rest my case, and then he goes free.
I mean, but that's the thing about like this is the reason that a lot of sexual assault cases go on like with justice not being served, because no matter how much like circumstantial evidence points to like, yeah, this guy raped me, or yeah, this guy went to the island and fucked a kid, like unless you have direct hard evidence of it, like recordings or like DNA.
Well, you need accusations.
Yeah, like accusations.
It's circumstantial.
Like, the thing about it is like
no, but they have no. That's what I'm saying.
People
have no accusations.
All they have is proof that Bill Clinton has been on the plane and might have gone to the island. That's still not proof that he knew what went on there or fucked a kid.
But there's also proof that like
unfortunately,
there's also proof that like Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Does he mean he fucked kids?
Yeah, I think Trump fucks kids.
I think so, probably.
For sure.
I mean, Trump would be less.
But like, so does Biden. They all fuck kids. I think more people should be saying it.
Here's the thing. It's like
I don't know about.
I don't know if because I like to maybe this is hopeless optimism. I like to believe at least some people who run the country are not sadistic psychopaths.
No,
but
sure, and you know
like,
why that also fits into what I'm saying that they all fuck kids is even the ones that like don't set out to fuck kids. It's a blackmail game because they trick them into fucking kids, and then they have blackmail on these powerful people for the rest of their lives.
She was 18, but she was 13.
Well, guys also have to remember that kids are really.
So that's why she had no tits.
But also, kids are.
I knew something was wrong.
Kids are really sexy. That's what you guys.
Yeah, somebody isolate just that.
Can we please delete that? I wish I had like an editing, like an audio guy who could be like,
send me the file.
John, cut that out.
Oh, man.
John's our bitch. John's our gimp / audio engineer. I would like to think that if we had an audio engineer,
John's our E-Rock.
Yeah. I like to think we did have like an audio guy who would be like our gimp, like the guy from Pulp Fiction, like he's in the back like editing this shit with like a leather mask on. It's just like
I'm glad you guys did not take me up on the offer because I don't want to be in the back with a gimp mask.
Oh well, I mean if you know the job is open, I'm just saying.
I'm down to
grab him, Jack.
Oh fuck.
But no, it's Anyway, what
were we even talking about? We're talking about a lot of shit.
Yeah, I mean, we can keep going. I'm down. I'm having a good time.
What are we at right now?
Who cares? We don't fuck the clock.
Fuck the clock.
Come on, it's like this. What is this? An open mic? It's like how am I doing on time?
Hey, as long as the clock's over 18.
We have a minute and a half left.
Yeah, right. Classic minute.
Dude, but why did like? where did this shit come from? That's what I want to know about, like, this QAnon stuff. Is like, it just sort of sprouted and
I think
everybody...
it starts
I don't even
with,
think I know what QAnon
to
is.
me, it comes
It's like
from...
a specific conspiracy theory movement, and they have some crazy beliefs. They believe that Donald Trump is the savior. He's Jesus Christ reincarnated.
And is he like? And he's like fighting this like secret war.
Yeah,
against like these
the pedophiles,
global satanic pedophiles.
It's like the 4D chess sort of thing. Like Trump's playing 4D chess, and like he's really outsmarting this global ring of like reptilian pedophiles. That and here's the thing: you have to give more context. It started on 4chan really, because. Like, here's the thing. I used to go on... We've talked about this before, obviously, but, like...
We're treading old ground
We'll
here.
give you a short, brief...
4chan is like a quarter of the way to the deep web.
Here's the thing. People
quarter
say...
Quarter of the way.
Honestly, though, you gotta know what the deep web is. The deep web's, like, a different thing. Like, really, the deep web isn't actually just, like, how fucked up you are.
It's like...
It's more just, like, a different sort of,
things under passwords.
Like, I wish I was more tech savvy so I didn't have to sound like such a dumbass talking about this. But it's like a totally different server. Like, you can't just go to a website on the deep web. You need a specific link to get to, like, those sort of, like, actual sites. And a lot of it is just FBI and, like, informants. But also you could find, like, you could find child porn on there. You could find hitmen. But regardless, like, 4chan is just a place.
Everybody go download Tor.
Yeah, everybody download
Senzo
Tor.
sent you.
Meet me at my house.
We're gonna buy drugs.
We're gonna buy a laptop. We're gonna surf the deep web. We're gonna get what we need, and we're gonna dump it.
Dude, we should do a deep web
Bring
live.
fat. We're making soap.
We should all do a deep... next time you're on this podcast, we should go live on the deep web.
Yeah, right. We just download Tor.
I hope you don't get swatted because I said bring fat, we're making soap.
Oh, God, no.
Well, also, like, I used to read stories from people that went on the deep web, and this one guy said, like, he went on, and this guy was just selling, like, jars of fingernails that he cut from... Like, people just...
It just shows you how truly, like, human beings are a super, like, strange creature. Like, we're not really, like, we try to act, like, civil in society. It's like, oh, how are you? Yes, thank you for holding the door for me. And then it's like, you go home and it's like, I'm going to sell the fingernails. Like,
no, a buddy sent me a 4chan link. And apparently just within these circles, it was just a big thread. I don't know if they have upvotes or whatever on 4chan. I'm a Reddit man.
They don't, here's the thing.
Yeah, Reddit.
I think there are upvotes, but... Really, the way it made... I don't remember.
But either way, it was like a popular thread.
The way you could tell if a thread is really getting a lot of attention is it's just the amount of replies.
Oh, just
if people are replying, that just means it's like, oh shit, everyone's like in on this or like something's going on.
So it was a brony which those of you who don't know, it's generally guys who are into the newer My Little Pony stuff. And he had
watch what you say, bitch.
He had a pony doll in a mason jar. And he filled the mason jar up with cum over like probably like a month.
Delicious.
And just saw how just seeing this little pony marinate in like jizz. Yeah, that's exactly how you should be reacting. And like, and the thing is, Reddit and 4chan, I feel like they have the potential to be wacky, but most of it's just people like sharing memes.
I mean, these days, it's a lot of just children trying to be edgy.
Now they kind of moderated 4chan a little bit.
It went through a period because what happened is it used to be owned by this guy named I don't know what his real name is, but he identifies as
Klaus
Moot.
4chansman.
His name was Moot actually. Like he made the website when he was like 14 in 2003, and it was a hit back then because back then the internet was just this primitive sort of like animalistic space where there weren't really any rules.
Yeah, it was like the Wild West.
Yeah, anything where you could just pop in and talk and do whatever you want. Like, you'd meet some very strange and fucked up individuals and see some very strange, fucked up content. And back then, like, 4chan might have been, like, I don't know how much evidence there is of this. Like, part of me thinks it's a rumor, part of me thinks it's fact, but 4chan might have been a place that you could get, like, vague glimpses of actual child pornography on the mainstream internet.
You totally could.
Back in 03 and, like, 04, like, when it was like that, yeah, it was really like it was almost like a
was a place where you could get it by accident.
Yeah, but
it was crazy. You would just like click onto a thread and be like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. You click on a thread, and be like, oh, that girl's kind of hot, and you start like, and then you scroll down, you're like, you like X out everything, and you throw the computer away. But
4chan also there was a controversy because there was also 8chan which came out, and some like I forget.
Is it twice as good?
twice as much smut, and
twice as worth.
But there was a guy who like did some sort of shooting. I forget what it was, Like I like how there's so many shootings. Like he did one of those shootings.
Yeah, it's like one of the like how many?
But he went on. He apparently
like gun or ropes. Sorry,
that's Wait, what gun or what?
Ropes.
But
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
Yeah, that's fine.
A pun cast orange.
I like that. That's fine.
That's the name of the episode, baby.
Yeah,
can
a pun
do that.
cast orange with Brandon Lopper.
But he apparently posted on 4chan or 8chan like I'm gonna shoot all these people, and then he did. And then the guy who created 8chan was like this dude in a wheelchair, and he's like, I'm gonna shut this down. This is weird.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know if I want this in my life. Well, that's the thing, because what happened with 4chan, like, it went through a period where, like, when it was first created, yeah, it was like that sketchy shit. And then it turned into, like, more of just an edgelord website. And then it started getting, like, racist and, like, full of, like, incels. And, you know, people were just like, yeah, women don't deserve rights. And, like, I don't want to see a single black person. Like, and then, like, one day, I don't know if you're aware, you guys are aware of the Jennifer Lawrence, like, nude leak.
I remember that.
Wait, the fappening?
Yeah, I was on 4chan when that happened. I was literally
That was a great moment in a lot of our lives.
I was on the website when it happened because what happened is I was
Yeah.
scrolling and I just saw a picture of a hot naked girl, which is not that unusual on 4chan. And then I'm like, wait, that's Jennifer Lawrence, or it looks like her. And then I saw that the thread had 4,000 replies. I was like, oh fuck! Like I clicked on it, and when I clicked on it, 404. Like I was like, oh shit! Like the moment I saw it was taken down.
And well, she was really pissed about that.
Of course.
And like
some of the photos make her look like a fucking like junkie. Like she's sitting on the floor like drunk as shit. She looks like a prostitute in some of those like. And I could see why you'd be upset.
I mean, like here's the thing: like people.
That's why everybody else was so happy.
Yeah,
just got to see it. Well, people used to like.
Brandon's like that was the best month of my life.
You know what? I'm not gonna front J-Lo. I'm sorry, but Tom's right.
Dude,
like,
I jerked off to that too. She's hot as fuck. I don't care.
I mean, I just like
everybody. It was there was two big leaks. It was her and Kate Upton, but Kate Upton like J-Lo's like hot because she's a real. I feel like such a fucking simp. She's like a real woman. She's a girl. She's a human.
She's fire in her.
No, she's like a human that you could find.
She's a talented lady.
No, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
honestly, this should.
Jennifer Lawrence is like a girl next door, more of a girl next door type,
right.
And like she's a real person. And Kate Upton's just like got these huge, unrealistic looking tits, and she's like too modelly.
Yeah,
and I'm like, all right,
she's a slur.
I could look at any porn star and get like a similar vibe from her, but then Jennifer Lawrence, I was like, that's the girl from like 7th grade.
That's the girl you want to
date. Way back when.
We were all younger at the time. Like if now, I probably wouldn't have just like so quickly like thought like.
Yeah, that's 2015.
Because I'll be honest,
I remember
like,
I was there.
Let's be honest. This is a podcast, aren't like every single person sitting here jerked off to those photos, but like. Yeah. Here's the thing, like, looking back, like, I don't feel great about it because of how upset she was about the whole thing. And, like, you know, it's kind of like criminal. It's like theft of intellectual property. It's theft of technically property. But the thing is, it's like...
Robin Hood, in this case, should be persecuted, but we're the poor people Robin Hood gave the fappening pics to. And I don't know if... you can't persecute me for dropping loads.
It's a modern-day Robin Hood.
Don't persecute me for being a curious teen.
He's just a neckbeard.
But anyway, what wound up happening... Because at the time, like I said, 4chan...
Keep fucking up, persecute and prosecute.
4chan was very bad.
Prostitute?
Like, at the time, 4chan wasn't so alt-righty, so I would still go on there. You know, because it was still kind of funny. Like, I would see that shit kind of forming, and I'd be like, ugh, like, I don't know if I really want to go on this website as much, but I'd still go on just looking for the kind of cheap
Now that's where 9gag is.
Yeah.
9gag is like alt-right shit.
It's weird how shit evolves. Because I remember when 9gag was just the dumbest, most like annoying, like just unoriginal memes that people shared over and over. But regardless, after the fappening, Moot, the guy who created the website, left it. And now like this Asian dude or something is in control of it. And now I just imagine, it's just like
what's
a lame ass. I don't know.
His name is Chan.
Yeah, his name's like Chan.
John Smith.
My name is Chan 4. I run for Chan. I run for Chan because I am Chan 4.
I'm really disappointed, guys. I don't know if you could put this out. I'm really upset at you guys.
Oh, Brandon, I don't know what you got yourself in. I don't know what you
like
think you got yourself into. But...
I'm really
that's why I like going on Brandon's podcast, because it's like a wholesome thing that I get to feel good about. And whenever I go here, I feel like I just attended a brothel.
Yeah, right. Like going on Brandon's podcast makes me feel like an innocent kid. And like Brandon coming here makes me feel like I'm trying to introduce him to crystal meth like it's no big deal. Like, it just, bro, everybody does it. It's cool. It only lasts 30 minutes.
Well, I will say, if I'm ever gonna try crystal meth, it feels like it should be in this basement.
No, it definitely should be. This is the white
with the Heisenberg fucking.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I say that, it does feel more like a heroin basement.
Yeah, it's kind of.
But it's a nice basement.
This is
a nice
Xanax basement.
You okay?
Yeah.
No.
Not that I've ever done Xanax.
No, we nailed. You nailed it. After
but yeah, like
we tried all the different drugs. This is Xanax.
I thought it was a coke
basement. Like, for those of you who don't know,
it could be a coke basement.
It could be.
The other night
it definitely could be, but you know, it's It may have been, but anyway, you know, it's. I think you nailed it with Xanax, because like, not that like I would never touch pills, but if I had to nail the character of how this basement looks, because this basement's just like a pretty big area. Like, for those of you
it's a nice basement
who aren't seeing, like, there's like a ping pong table, like a random keyboard nobody uses, like pictures and shit. Like, yeah, this is probably a basement that like a 14-year-old would snort Xanax. Like,
this is a man cave
on a coffee table.
This is like a man cave kind of thing. I like it.
I used to smoke weed out of the back room, because there's like a little back room, like where like my dad keeps all his tools.
Why'd you stop? Did they catch you?
Oh, dude.
Well, no, I mean, they knew for a while. I just decided I was okay with being a shitty son, and then I decided and then after a while I was like, maybe I shouldn't change my ways.
I always thought I was getting away with like smoking in those spots, like either, you know, in my dad's tool room in the back, and for the longest time, like, my parents just didn't say anything, and then they would, and I'm like, why would you think I was getting away with? Make me think I was getting away with this?
Yeah, and then they're like, dude, we know, like, we've known this whole time, and it's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, but you make the whole house smell, and it's like, damn, it's been like 3 weeks of me doing it, and nothing was said, like shit.
Yeah, it's nuts how, like, when you smoke weed, you are the most unreliable test if it smells like weed. You know?
Oh yeah, you can't smell it at all when you're smoking it.
No, you really can't, and it's like you just can't trust it. You can't trust it ever.
You can't even really smell it when you're like, if you just smoke a lot and you're around it. Like, when I quit for like 3 months, I remember I would smell weed in places. I'd be like, wow, like, it does fucking smell really strong. Like,
you'd be like you'd be like an old timey cartoon character floating behind some pie paper.
Yeah.
Like,
you start like, you're like, oh my god, what is that?
It's just like floating through the air.
Yeah. Nah, it's just like one of those things where it's like, you always think you're getting away with it, because you're like, okay, I sprayed, like, I washed my hands, like, I'm chewing gum, like, maybe I even put some cologne on, and then, like, you just walk upstairs and you're like, your sibling is just like, you know, the whole house reeks, and it's just like,
I thought I was being coy.
Yeah, I thought I was like a fucking stealth master.
I'm down to keep recording. I don't know if you guys can do like a Blue Chew ad read or something, but I got to piss and I'm down to come back down.
You know what? We honestly, like, we're at an hour and 15, so maybe we could just like call it. Like, we talked about plenty. Is there anything else we wanted to touch on? Like,
just some little boy.
Pedophile orange.
Pedophile orange.
Or, you know,
Brandon does not look
Let me
happy.
see. Is there anything else we wanted to discuss?
Yeah.
You know, maybe go to the bathroom for a minute, Jack, and I'll keep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do the Blue Chew ad read.
Yeah, that will do like we'll see if we could go in, Danny, because we did have other topics written down here.
Oh, yeah.
We could talk about them.
We're gonna go topical.
Yeah, God, what a bitch.
Fuck Brandon.
Yeah.
God, don't you hate that guy?
Oh, thank God he's out of the room.
Ugh.
Can't believe we had him
asshole.
on. Yeah, what a douchebag.
Fucking shithead.
Faggot. I'm kidding. We love Brandon, and obviously he's a great guest. We're having fun so far here at the podcast.
We're having fun.
First ever piss
fun,
break.
guys.
First ever piss break on the show. Honestly, this is a first. Yeah, first piss break. Cheers.
I'm serious. We should go on the deep web one day on an episode.
Honestly, if you were down, like, I would split like a really shitty computer that we could just download Tor onto, see what happens, and then just like throw into the ocean. Like,
yeah.
Because, like, honestly, because you can get fucked just exploring on it. Like,
oh yeah, no,
you have to be careful. Like,
and it's also like I kind of don't want to in a way, because some of the stuff I've heard, like, people accidentally look at some shit on on the deep web that just like scars them for life.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have seen shit on 4chan that has scarred me for life too. That's partly why I stopped going, especially when it got really like the alt-rightish stuff really started appearing. I was just like, this isn't really fun anymore. Like,
yeah, it just makes you feel weird. It's just
going on the deep web and finding like actual child porn by accident would not be fun.
Or just like you ever we've talked about this before, where you go on marathons of just watching creepy shit on the internet, and you just have to like it's just like you spend all night like looking at weird, disturbing shit, and then you can't sleep because you're just like, why did I fucking watch that?
Yeah, like after a while, you're just kind of like I'll watch like list, like you see those list videos where it's like top 10 most terrifying unexplained videos. It's like,
yeah,
it's such crap content, but you just watch it. He's like, well, what's so unexplained about it?
Yeah,
and then
there's
like,
one
you're up
video
for
where
3
this
hours.
guy was like, I watched a video about like, footage of stalkers. And, like, because the whole idea of, like...
I've seen shit like that. It's
the whole
crazy.
idea of stalkers has always been interesting to me. I don't know why. It's just, like, a creepy concept. But, like, there's this one video of this guy stopped this woman at like, she was jogging, and he talked to her for some reason. And then he kept coming back every day at the same house. And, like, it kind of creeped me out how realistic it was. And there's been, like, other... And, like... You ever used to watch, I know that he's gotten, like, some sort of trouble, I forgot about what, but, like, Shane Dawson's videos.
Oh, I used to think I remember thinking he was funny, and then just kind of, like, realizing after a while that he was not really that funny. Like,
No, well, he's not, well, he's also a complete fucking idiot. When I found out he was, like, a big, like, nut job, who believes all this, like, stupid shit. Like, he believes in, like, the mattress firm conspiracy, where it's, like... He thinks that, like, the reason that there's so many mattress firms is because they're secretly a front for dealing drugs. And, like, I don't know. He's just an idiot who believes in all these conspiracy theories. But, like, he's also a guy that would play, like, videos of, like creepy shit.
True.
And he had, like, this really weird music in the background. And, I don't know. Like, during the quarantine, I watched some of that stuff, and,
True.
It kind of it doesn't it's weird because it's not like scary.
Sort of a guilty pleasure, if you will.
Oh, there we go.
What are you talking about?
We're actually just talking about like creepy internet videos. But
I was just so fixated on when I was upstairs urinating, I heard
urinating.
I don't remember what Billy Joel song, but I was like, I didn't think this house could get more Long Island.
Oh no! Yeah.
And then I just hear Billy Joel coming through the walls.
That is completely characteristic of this household. Somebody
closer, tiny dance. That's Elton John.
You had to be a big shot, dude. No, but yeah, my house is Long Island as fuck. From the fucking Billy Joel playing through the walls to the Tucker Carlson blaring on the TV.
To your dad's cargo shorts.
To the painting of garlic.
To the garlic painting that's hanging on. I don't know.
I love that. I want
my
that.
house is so Italian that there's just a framed picture of garlic in my kitchen. Like, who has that?
You know what I want for my house when I like eventually have my own house is I want a really nice portrait of like a Mario Bros. Goomba.
That would be a cool thing.
And just have it be like a subtle like, you know, because it's an Italian house.
Yeah,
like it's so stupid.
But, Mario would come out and that's a kind of a stereotype.
We don't even talk like this.
That's a sort of offense.
Why are Italians always shown as the criminals in the movie?
When is that princess gonna give me some pussy?
Can't you ever show an Italian man
Mario,
something?
Mario was the ultimate simp.
Yeah, Mario went through all that for a woman that I'm pretty sure doesn't even fuck him. Like,
she might have fucked Bowser.
Yeah. I know that Luigi gets Tang from Daisy, but I'm pretty sure Peach and Mario are like
Bowser was kind of like
in separate beds type of couple.
Bowser was the ultimate alpha male. He's like, I'm taking this girl, and
even Bowser though, like I feel like Bowser, like he never really like did anything. He would just put her in a cage. He's like, I just have her in a cage, and it's just like, all right, like.
But why? Why did he even do that? Like,
yeah, like did he fuck her or did he like want to fuck her?
I think he was like extorting. Wasn't he like? I always thought like he was like extorting money from somebody, and she was like a rich princess. So he's like,
yeah, Brandon, you might have more insight on this because you're very into.
Was Bowser like extorting money from the king or something? Is that why he?
Well, you see.
Was Bowser like the Weinstein of fucking the Mario universe?
It keeps him young. He has to. I have no idea.
He was jerking off into those.
That's what I hate about Nintendo. If you ask Nintendo, they're going to be like, "You're already thinking about it too much," and I'm like, "I want to know the lore.
I want to know what the answer." Yeah, why?
Like, there is no lore. It's just Plumber jumps on turtles and muffins until he saves the lady.
And that's the thing. Like the one time they gave people like a little bit more lore, which was Mario Sunshine. like Bowser's like, oh yeah, Peach is your mom, Bowser Jr. You popped out of that woman.
So
What?
Yeah,
Bowser
and then spoilers. You get to the end of the game.
Oh,
you get to the end of the game, and Bowser's like, which is weird because he's almost never has like a voice actor in any other game. He's like, sorry, Junior, I didn't really fuck that human lady. And Bowser Jr. is just like, I know, it was just nice having her in a cage, and it's like exactly.
Is that really what they said? Holy shit!
Más o menos, like more or less. It's like
he's just like, I'm sorry, Junior, I don't have a dick.
we gotta rap and then watch the final cutscene of Mario Sunshine. It'll blow your mind.
Oh,
I never played it all the way through.
The final cutscene in Mario
I always
Sunshine?
got stuck on the level of beating the fucking pity piranha bitch.
You're not good at Mario game soundtrack.
No, I'm not.
All
was
right.
not. That was never my forte.
I
I was better at
love
Mario
Mario
Kart.
games.
I feel like playing Mario now that now I have a hankering for fucking.
Did you hear about the announcement recently? They're putting out as a single game. It's going to be Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy 1. And it's also good at... I hate that Nintendo's doing this, but they're making it like a limited printing. So you pretty much have to get it. You have to pre-order it, or else it's just going to be a collector's item.
Oh, God.
It's like...
What is it on?
I hate that type
Switch.
of shit.
Oh,
It kind of makes me think of when Wu-Tang Clan made their new album and they just made one copy, put it up for auction, and Martin Shkreli just got it.
Oh, yeah.
You guys kind of fucked
dude.
yourselves over on
Dude,
that
and that
one.
guy made a fucking video, I remember.
It's like, that's what you get for being pretentious.
Dude, he made a video where he's like, yeah, I bought this fucking album, bitch. Martin Shkreli.
Yeah,
He's
I
like,
remember. Yeah, he released one of the songs like over like
dude, that
shitty
guy was
recording.
nuts. Is
Yo,
he in
yeah.
prison now?
I
He's
hope
in jail
so.
for something. I forgot what it is. It was like fraud or something. But yeah, he is in jail.
No, Nintendo is so fucky, man. Like, they originally did a limited printing of, it was the Metroid Prime trilogy on the Wii. I remember it was like, sold for $60, but it was worth like $120 when I was trying to buy it, like online. GameStop had like a mint copy for like $70, and I was like, I'm so savvy. I'm gonna like get one over on GameStop and get this game that's probably gonna keep going up in price. But I also really wanted to play them,
Right.
And then like a month after I bought it, they're like, we're gonna reprint the Metroid Prime trilogy so more of our fans can get this game. And I was just like, fuck. At least I have the cool one.
Yeah, at least I got the one that was hard to get.
I was banking on that thing being worth like $1,000 in 10 years. After I like got to play the shit out of those games, it was like a double,
True. You know what I used to think is I have like so many Godzilla toys. Like I fucking love Godzilla.
Hell yeah.
Like growing up, that could be a guilty pleasure I even talk about on your show. Like kaiju movies and shit. That's my shit.
Nice.
But like I had so many Godzilla toys. I used to tell myself like, yeah, these will be worth like $10,000 10 years from now. Now it's 10 years from now. They're just worth nothing. And I'm like, I guess.
Well,
Like,
is there like any
Wait,
cool to
did
have
none
them.
of them appreciate?
I don't know. Like, I mean, they're all toys that I played with, so they're like marked
yeah.
up, and some are like missing arms and shit. Like,
So the answer is no.
But there's
Yeah.
no like. I feel like
Dick.
why would you want to sell them? Because it's just like it's more fun to just have that. Like I have like a bunch of like old ass baseball cards of like Ken Griffey Jr. and fucking all these people, and it's just like I could sell them and make a nice amount of money, but it's just like I don't want to fucking.
yeah.
You could probably make a lot of money ejaculating onto those and mailing them to creeps.
Probably more money on
They
OnlyFans.
probably like
Yeah.
that. They
No,
probably,
OnlyFans, you just make video of yourself doing that. You're making money on both fronts. You're becoming a real modern woman, Jack.
Yeah, Jack.
We got
Finally, we'll have some clout with the feminist community, and we can stop
could-
sounding like such incel assholes.
I feel like we already have some female listeners.
Do we?
No, but
One of my listeners
that's
is
good.
fighting me in a roast battle soon. Like, good old Maurice. Shout out Maurice. He's a great guy. I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, I'm worried about it. Like,
I wonder what I don't know.
Just make every roast bit about him being black.
that's the angle. Like, that's the specific angle I did
I love
not want to
Maurice.
take.
Go
No,
for the
Maurice,
easy.
if you hear this after our roast, just know that like it's gonna be tough for me to roast you because you're a really nice guy. So I don't know.
No,
exactly
I'm having the
what
same
gonna
thing with
say.
Tardo. I have a few things that I definitely don't have the full set.
With Tardo, you could definitely go for like the way his posture is. Like you could make a joke about how he just doesn't move his head when he like stands on stage. Like he'll just like turn
No,
while he's
stop
talking.
giving away my bits. No,
I
that's
mean-
it. He's got the Batman turn.
I think
He's
you
got
should
the,
just go for the Nick,
Oh, true.
Nick
Sorry.
Ritardo.
I mean, this podcast will most likely be out after the battle. When's it out?
I also don't think it's
Friday.
compromising. Oh, yeah. But you asked him a question, I tried to answer it. So
Yeah,
there you go.
exactly.
What? I don't even remember. I said you should just go for the Nick Ritardo bit. Just as a last resort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have nothing
that's
left.
overtime with no overtime jokes.
Yeah.
You could be like, Nick calls himself Ninefold. I'm
roasting Zach, and I was thinking about calling him Hack Borovich.
Hack Borovich.
Get it? That's pretty fucking...
It's cute.
That's fun if you just gotta build up to it.
Yeah.
You can't just lead with that. You gotta say something funny and then another funny thing and then end with that.
I was just gonna go hey, Zach Zorovich, more like Hack Borovich.
I mean, you could do that if you want to get some irony laughs. But you could also say that so Zach is obsessed with comedic integrity, but he has the hackiest jokes of all time, more like Hack Borovich or something. You could try to make it because if you're just it's almost like Jack Siegel, more like Jack Smeagol.
People used to call me Sack Jeagle.
Oh yeah, Sack Jeagle. I do like that one.
All right.
But still, if I roasted you with that, you would have been really?
That's all you got? Com Tresenzo.
Landon LaCarrubba. This is getting silly.
I'm gonna cry.
This is pretty silly.
So yeah, at this point,
do you remember when I called Devin in overtime to win my roast battle with Devin? I called him Big Gay Ogerson.
Oh, Big Gay.
That was funny.
that was good. That was quick. Yeah.
And he asked me, but it wasn't because you know why? It was one of the first ones I wrote. But then I'm like, this is comedian niche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then I saved it. It was the only one I had in overtime that so I wasn't thinking on my feet. And then Devin, even afterwards, he's like, how come you saved that for overtime? And I was like, I had no faith that was going to be funny.
Well, I also called you Doug Stan Hopeless.
Yeah, that was good. I was like, that was very comedy niche, too. But I was like, wow.
I was just thinking because you sound like Doug Stanhope when you talk.
I mean, especially when I try to make a point. I support the Libertarian Party. I've heard him say, I don't know if he believes that anymore, but I've seen him in an interview say he
voted for Gary Johnson.
Yeah, he said he supported Gary Johnson. I was like, Doug, come on. Come on, dude. But anyway, at this point in the podcast, we're basically at the end. Is there anything you want to plug real quick, Brandon?
Yeah, check out my podcast, Guilty Pleasure Personals, on Instagram, on Spotify, on the Facebook, on almost all the places. And just Brandon.Laka on Instagram, where I do my regular comedian and human being postings. And we got shows coming up.
Yes, we do.
We got the 9/11 roast battle.
Yes.
More like
that's
this
what
May
not like
after
Al Qaeda roasting the Twin Towers.
This
Topical.
is gold. Comedy gold right there.
That's gonna be cool.
More like jet fuel can't roast steel beams. Am I right? Fuck! I should have told Renee to name it that.
Wait, you gotta
He
tell
already
whoever's...
named the show. He should have named it "Jet Fuel Can't Roast Steel Beams."
I forget who's hosting, but that's something that they should have in their quiver.
It was originally going to be me, but now I believe it's Jared Harvin.
Okay.
Jared Harvin, also a great guy, great guy.
Or Jared Fogle.
I mean,
you guys.
Doesn't really make any sense at all.
No, it doesn't.
But then the only other thing is, I want to plug the Renee show on September 15th, opening for a lot of great people, including Mark Normand, which I'm insanely excited for.
I thought you said you're opening for a lot of great people.
Nah, Mark Normand.
No, but that show
you're actually a pretty big hero of all of ours. Please don't take
please
don't take that personal.
Don't listen to this podcast, Mark Normand.
Please tell me this one day.
No, but if you want tickets to that, it is selling out quick, and even if it is sold out, there's a chance I might be able to hook you up. Just if you want to come to that show and you're trying to see a bunch of great comics, including Mark Normand, for only $10.
Get in on it soon.
Yeah. Hit me up. Hit up these guys, and they'll hit me up. We'll help you get there. It's
$10, more like 10 schmucks doing comedy.
Jack is ready. I don't think you have to worry about anything.
Dude, I am just on fire today.
This man. Yeah, that's all I gotta plug. Just doing comedy and doing podcasts.
Yep. All right.
I'd like to plug in the computer because we're running out of battery.
Oh no, my laptop is about to die. That's probably what we have to
go home.
You're gonna stay here, Brandon. Brandon, now that you've gotten this far on the show, we're at the portion where you're gonna have to take your pants off.
Yeah.
So let's go.
Time to do that.
I had a feeling when you invited me on.
Brandon.
I was like, I may never leave this basement.
Brandon, less talky, more unzippy.
All right.
Let's go, bitch. No. Thank you all for listening to a podcast, Orange.
It's like, all right.
We had a great time in here. Brandon LaCarrubba, everybody, please be sure to check him out. He's a very funny guy.
Oh, shucks.
Anything to say, Jack, before we close out?
Great time. I need a great lime for this Corona.
Oh! Brandon looks like he wants to kill himself. All right, thank you all
Thanks for
so
having
much.
me, guys. It was fun.
Of course, anytime, man. I'll see you soon. Pleasure talking to all of you guys. Have a good night.